All right, it's time, guys. We are live. I am here with Kerry, Faix, and Steve Lloyd of Stone Bay Holdings. This is going to be an amazing live stream. So many people are excited to learn from you guys and hear what you guys have to say about the current pandemic. I don't know if it's a pandemic, but it's a situation that we're all a part of, and we all have to get through it together. So we're very excited to hear from you guys. So real quick, for those who have no idea who you guys are, so ladies first, Kerry, would you please introduce yourself? Let us know who you are and what you're all about.
I'm Kerry Faix. I'm COO, Chief Operating Officer of Stone Bay Holdings, and I handle all the operations and kind of make all the things happen and keep all the wheels rolling around.
Are excited to learn.
So
I had Steve. It's all good. I'll
Okay.
control it from here. Go ahead, Kerry.
Back on? Great. This is new technology. This is what's kind of exciting about this, is learning how to do things differently. So so with Stone Bay Holdings, we've been, I take care of all the operations end. I make sure anything that we want, all the objectives get done, and make sure that we win those Super Bowl for all of our goals.
Awesome. And Steve, would you mind sharing with us about you, who you are and what you're up to?
My name is Steve Lloyd. I'm one of the founders of Stone, and I'm just here.
All right. Well, we don't need titles. Titles don't really do anything other than keep us in a box. So I guess what you guys both are value creators, right? So if you guys are watching this, please share this on your page. I want a lot of people to listen to this message because it's important. It's going to help a lot of people. So let's get this started. So please share with us what your thoughts are with what's happening right now. What are you seeing? How are businesses being impacted? How are investors being impacted? What are you seeing right now? And what are your thoughts on what they can do now based on what you're seeing? So let's go with Steve, and then Kerry, I want to hear from you right after that.
So obviously, I think Kerry recognized this was happening, about 2.5 weeks ago, and we really wanted to take immediate action, to be reactive, proactive. It's waiting for something to happen when you know, see that it's going to happen. So what I want to stress to the listeners, you just don't want to sit back on your, you want to start doing things that's going to help your life. How long this is going to last? It looks to us, this is a long time. I don't even think you can compare it to what happened 12 and 13. I don't think there's really a whole lot of safety. The outlook unfortunately doesn't look great right now, but I think if you communicate and share what we're doing through this crisis, and prepare with other ideas, big help to everyone.
All right, we're getting a little bit of trouble hearing you, Steve. I think your internet connection might be a little low. We did hear some things. Let's see, Steve, maybe you can try to correct that or something. I'm not sure. But Kerry, based on conversations that you've had with Steve, what is it that you're seeing in the market, and what is it that people should be aware of right now?
Well, the question that you asked, Steve, was, and what we did do is panic quickly. So one of the things that we did was react, if you even want to call it overreacting. So instead of thinking this is temporary, this isn't going to be catastrophic for our business, instead we've taken the opposite tactic and we've said, this is awful, this is horrendous, what is the worst thing that could happen to our business? And in doing that, makes you take action quicker, because the worst thing that you can do right now is sit on the sidelines and think that you've got, this is a little vacation time and just enjoy your downtime. Instead, if you go, wow, this is potentially catastrophic, what does that mean? How could this disrupt my business? How could this kill my business? And start thinking in terms of that and start taking immediate action. That was pretty much what Steve and I did quickly. We came together and we started talking about that and what things did we need to do differently. We talked about his objectives and my objectives, and then we kind of just have set off and started taking action on doing those things. So, you know, that is really, that's what he's saying, is that the worst mistake we can make, and one of the things that Steve was trying to say there was that this potentially has can be much more damaging than what happened in '09. And so try to learn from the things that had happened back there. And right now, one of the things that I'm doing is filling my head and my tank with people that asking and seeking guidance and figuring out what people did in the past. How did they get through it? And some of those people lost their businesses. Some of those people succeeded. And so it's trying to take all that information in and decide, you know, what things are relevant to our business and what things do we need to do and take action on so that our business isn't extinct. We've got a lot of people relying on us. We have our employees and our investors. They're the lifeline of exactly who Stone Bay is. So sidelines and thinking this isn't, that this is just a temporary thing and that this is going to pass quickly would be a big mistake on our part.
Absolutely. So this is a situation that nobody has been through yet. So they can't really say what's going to happen. And believe it or not, this is a new virus, right? This is a new version of an existing virus. So a lot of people who don't understand that fact are confusing things and making it difficult for other people because they're taking it too lightly. Now, with what you've seen back in 2009 and things like that, now, a lot of businesses have been affected, and you guys said you were proactive. One of the things that I heard was that you guys got on the same page. And I'm guessing when you say you got on the same page, you're talking about which way are you going to take the company? What are you guys going to do with debt restructuring? What are you guys going to do with the assets that you keep or choose to sell, or even restructure the loan, right? So there are those kind of steps that are involved. Now, what would you say is the first thing that people should do? And before I go on, Steve, if you could maybe get closer to your router, that could be a possibility, because I want to hear from you as well. Kerry, you did a great job at recapping what he said, but if Steve could get closer, I want to hear from both of you guys. What are the immediate steps? We're going to talk about the short-term steps and then the long-term thinking, what people can do now and what people can do later. And as always, if you guys are watching this, please share this video so that other people can see this as well. Because like Kerry was saying, she reached out to other people in her network that was able to give her advice. And for some of us, we don't have a large network of super successful people. And so you two are the super successful. You guys are the leaders of the leaders, and people need to hear from you guys. So this is a great video for other people to hear. So if you can share that, please do. And let's give Steve another try. So in the short term, Steve, what should people be focusing on?
Hoan, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes,
so
I can.
this is one of the roles that I've taken, and Kerry split up our roles. And when we took the immediate action, I started. We actually have about 180 investors, so I didn't want to wait to see what happened. So I wanted to communicate with them instead of sending out an email to all of them. I haven't got to all of them. I've talked to about 80 of them so far. But the point was to create a plan. What is Stone Bay's plan today? What are we going to do tomorrow? And where do I think we'll be in 6 months? And it was a dialogue, and it kind of started out It's amazing to talk to everyone so far, and I'm going to continue doing that. But it was really, this is what we're doing right now. I told them, gave them a heartfelt message, because Stone Bay in the past year, Kerry and I felt that the things that we buy, the mobile home parks, the apartment buildings, the charged off second mortgage, the lending, we actually have been very careful of what we've done the past year. It's not like trying to figure out what everyone says and what's in our mind. It's really a gut thing for us. We already felt that real estate was overvalued. We already felt that the stock market was overvalued. And we thought that we needed to hold on to some of our cash, and luckily we did. But it's reinforcing to the investor what we've been doing over the past couple months, and let them know exactly why we think that we protected all their principal, which I 100% believe that we did. But I'm telling the people that are listening, they need to reach out to their banks. They need to reach out to their loan officers. They need to reach out if they have private lenders. They need to talk to them and communicate them and let them know ask where the investors where they are, and tell the investors what their plan is and how they're going to work their way through this. You got to tell the story. You got to have dialogue and communication with everyone that's going on. People don't like to be held in the dark. And I think what a lot of entrepreneurs do is they're reactive instead of being proactive. And my communication to my investors might be on a bi-weekly basis as things unfold, because we've never experienced this before. So, the biggest mistake the investor, to switch a tiny bit on to another topic, but biggest mistake that I see the investor make is trying to hold on too long, right? And they wait until they get in trouble, and then they're start to be, well, I'm telling everyone that's listening, they need to start right now, month, where they will be in 6 months. You don't want to wait till you get in trouble. One of the things I did about 9 years ago at Temple University and building my portfolio there, I had a bad me, and I actually got myself in trouble. What I did was equity for something that they built, and I think that mistake in times like this. So if you think you're in trouble, and people, and maybe sell off some of your equity to an investor before you get. So at that time, kind of what I did, I knew I still had equity. It was going a whole lot of money coming in, and I was paying debt that I actually didn't know got stuck with. And what I did was I brought a gentleman in, and I was it's kind of like a virus. It was actually internal. And what did I do? I had equity. I had this gentleman into equity in the company, infused a large amount, and I really thought at that time that there was a chance of that I was going to, but like getting worse and worse and worse. I reached out to him in, and he bought into the company 5% equity, and we've had a amazing relationship ever since. But he saved my ass then. I mean,
All right.
our people, telling them what their Scott, the biggest one of the guys I love to talk to, the entrepreneurs, is they need help. If now, are you full, or if you're now and you think start telling people what you might have a barber shop business out there that's been shut down, but you never know if you called, and let people. You might have a business to own. someone might sit now with you and help you out. Did you get all that? Huh?
So Steve, so we heard you in the beginning and then it broke up in the middle. And then I heard you at the end, but I know the story. So I can definitely recap. Kerry, I'm sure, knows the stories as well. She can recap as well. Some of the viewers are asking, can you call in? I'm not sure how you do that. There might be a way to call in, but if we can have you do that.
I don't see a call-in number.
Okay.
I don't see a call-in number.
All right, so let me try to figure that out. And while I'm figuring that out, so I'm going to recap a little bit of what Steve was saying. Just so you want to make sure that you want to seek help before you need the help, right? Before you're in trouble, you want to go out there and ask people if they can help you. Now, in Steve's case, he had a situation where his business was in trouble and he needed to find somebody who can bail him out. So he was able to sell a portion of the equity of his property or his business to somebody, which then ultimately gave him the runway so that he can continue his business and then ultimately do way more business. So he was saying that some people are afraid of selling pieces of equity because it's the entrepreneur in us, keep all of it, but that's not necessarily always the best solution. So I'm going to let Kerry speak on that while I figure out the connection issues with Steve. So let me see. Oh, Kerry, I think you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah, what Steve was talking about is, and that's what we're saying right now, is that if you panic quickly, if you assume the worst could possibly happen to your business, and you start thinking about what things you would need to do if the worst was happening, and you be willing to put that out there. Look, leaders need to lead. But a good leader is also willing to accept that things aren't always perfect. Sometimes people have the misconception that they have to have this false mask on their face that says, I'm confident, I'm invincible, nothing ever bad is going to happen to me. My business is going to, totally get through this thing and there won't be any problems. And, that's not really true because I got something going on there. And that's what we're talking about right now is be transparent, talk to people, put your feelers out there. Whatever you think the worst thing that could happen, if you start talking with people and you start sharing that, then what you're going to find is connectors start connecting one to another. And that's what's really cool and neat about this, what we have before us right now. People that are your competitor might become your strategic partner. People that are your client could become, may know somebody that will connect with you and help you navigate through these stormy waters right now. So that's really in a nutshell is what Steve's saying in the personal application for right now. That's what we learned from the past and what we're implementing now. The other thing that I would say to do is to, in the short term, that's what Steve did. He took action. He started talking to our investors right now and started telling them what we were doing. We're also talking to our strategic partners right now. So it's a communication back and forth. This is not a one-way street between us and our investors. When we're calling them, we're asking how they're doing. And really the beautiful thing of Stone Bay Holdings, and probably if you talk to every one of our investors, they would say that this is more of a family relationship we have. We've done the same thing with our strategic partners. This is not a one-way street. Where Stone Bay, we bring money in, we invest it, and we pay our investors, we give them their interest, their investment. No, this is a relationship we're building that we want to build for the long term with people. So when Steve's making these phone calls, this is not the first time Steve out of the box makes phone call conversations to people. So he's built a rapport and a relationship with them so that when he calls them, he's saying, hey, how are you doing? How's your children doing? He's finding out what's going on in their life because what's going on in their life is also impacting their investment with us. And the same back and forth goes on with our strategic partners. So we can't make the decisions that are best for our investors, best for our strategic partners if we don't have that transparency and that open communication and dialogue continually going back and forth. thank goodness Steve likes to chat, because he's on the phone an awful lot these days. And that's another really good asset to have, is to be transparent in time of crisis. So many times people dig their head in the sand, or, they don't want to face that. They don't want to face their employees. Some people could be facing right now that they had to let their employees go. They do not have enough work because the revenue coming into their companies completely shut off right now. And so they don't have the revenue coming in to be able to pay their employees back. It's what you could do. That's if you choose to look at this and say, be transparent, talk to your employees, talk to your investors, talk to your clients, find out what their needs are right now, and see what you maybe need to do differently to help fit those needs in this time of crisis and in the time of the future. What we all need to understand is that the world is forever changing. I've learned my staff is all working remotely right now. I'm working 100% remotely. We are honoring what our governor has asked us to do, to shelter in place. Trust me, it's the last thing I want to do. I wanted to go back to my office and say, hey, I'm the only one there. I don't have employees. But you know what? What really makes the world work is when we all try to do our part to make it work. And so what was really kind of exciting for me is to learn that I can do things differently. We were so used to our current environment and getting, we had to get laptops out. I had to get software on, monitors and different technology and materials needed to get out to the employees so that they could work remotely. It was pretty cool. We were pretty much able to do that pretty seamlessly. And for me, I'll be honest, it was a little bit of a hiccup the first day, because more mentally, you've got to keep your mindset going in this time, because the way I do business is different right now. I was used to getting up, going to the office, and I had my whole setup there and get my groove going. And I had to learn that doesn't always work. And so, you've got to figure out what works for you to keep you productive right now. And one of the things that I'm seeing that I need to do and bring value to everybody is to look and see that for my staff, for my strategic partners, as they're adapting in this changing world too. What things can I offer? Can I do differently for them to help them? My employee, she's got 2 young children at home. So she's learning to, there has to be conversation and dialogue back and forth between me and my staff, finding out, one, how are they emotionally dealing with what's going on? Because there's a lot of people that are uncertain in this day and age. They don't know what's going on. So you've got to, as a leader, help people mitigate their own concerns about the environment and the world, the changing world. And 2, we have to figure out how to help them be successful and still achieve and get their goals done, get the work done that they're working towards too.
That's awesome. So, okay, so I'm going to bring Steve on. He's actually calling in on my phone, and so we figured out the thing, so we can still see him, and now we'll be able to hear him. So, Steve, you're
so Hoan, one of the things that I wanted to add that was Kerry was saying, and just let us know if you can hear me. I have so Kerry and I buy big apartment buildings, 10 million and up. And I was talking to a gentleman who we're not partners with, and he was really giving me some good information. And this is what you need to be doing. You need to be helping each other. And what I did is the person that I'm involved with I own a lot of apartment buildings with, Kerry and I connected Randy and Chip the other day. And Chip had some good ideas that he shared with Randy, and Randy had some really good ideas that he shared with Chip. And one of the things that Randy was doing, it was being proactive with his tenants. Proactive with the tenants. So instead of waiting to see if those tenants were going to pay, what Randy was doing is he put someone in charge of his apartment building, and he was helping the tenants make sure that they knew how to file for unemployment. He gave them the links. Randy gave them the links for the $1,200 credit. Make sure they had the links for the credit for the child credit. So Randy is actually helping his tenants be proactive and get signed up for these programs that could possibly help pay for the rent. And then, Chip was doing some of these things, but he added some. So the point of the story is to make sure everyone was connecting with different ideas, even though they weren't doing business before. It's about bringing us all together right now and helping each other. When I was talking to Randy and he told me he was doing these things, I just called Chip and said, let's get on. Let's share things that we're doing. And Randy, you share things. And that really, really worked out well. There was actually some letters that they each shared back and forth that they were going to give to the tenants. So, most of everyone on this call is going to wait to see if their tenants pay. Don't wait. Call them. Get in touch with them. See if they have the links for all these government things that are going to be coming back, because not everyone knows the information and a lot of people are confused.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. So with that so some of the things that I heard, so that you guys know, I heard communication is key. You guys have to communicate with all of your strategic partners. Now, some people don't have investors, right? There are some mom and pop investors. They don't have investors. They don't have the private money lenders. They don't have people lend from their IRAs. They don't have any of those people. So one of the things from my background that I could say is to get in touch with your bank if you have a mortgage right away, and then talk to them about what programs they have available. No two banks are the same. From what I'm hearing, all of the different banks have all different programs. With my bank in particular, we're allowing for deferment. And then we're also allowing for deferment in two different ways. It's either you can take 2 to 3 months, depending on your situation. You can defer 2 to 3 months, and we can tack them on the back end, or we can keep the term the same so that your due date is the same, yet your monthly payment is higher. So you get to pick and choose which one you want to do. So that is an example of who you should be in communication with. It's important that you keep your cash flow on the positive, because that is where you get in trouble. Cash flow is king, because as soon as your cash flow dips negative, that's when your business goes out of business, right? So what Kerry and Steve are talking about, without getting into specifics, is that being in trouble is just where your cash flow can't pay your bills. As simple as it is, right? As simple as that. You got to make sure that you try to secure and save as much income as you can. So Steve was saying, talk to the tenants, be proactive, reach out. Don't wait for them to tell you that they're not paying. Don't do a wait and see. Reach out and make sure that they're aware of the programs. I'm reading the comments, and somebody said that you can reach out to the PGW and PICO, that's the gas and the electric company. And then you can also get free food from the city. So that if your tenants are able to get food from the city, then that's one less payment that they have to make. So utility companies are working with you, the banks are working with you, the city's even working with you, there's the government grants. So make sure all your tenants have all of the knowledge, because they may not, they really may not. So is there anything else? Let's see, Steve, is there anything else that you wanted to share?
Comment? Yeah,
absolutely.
Things more. So I'm going to just try to run the table here. So I have a gentleman that he had talked to his bank, and his bank, told him that he could actually take 6 months without paying anything towards the loan that he has. And what I told him, what I would tell anybody to do is if you make sure it's separate from real estate. So if you have a restaurant or a bar or a hair salon and you have a loan from the bank for any type of business, look, I want you to make those, maybe you defer those payments for 6 months right now, because Hoan's right. You want to keep as much capital in your pocket as possible, because if we go out 6 months, I don't want you to make 3 or 4 payments that you really didn't want to make, and then they extend this for 9 months. So what we want to do is keep the most amount of money in our pocket right now, as long as the bank is willing to work with you. But just let's just go to if something horrific happens to that hair salon or that business other than real estate. Be logical. If it gets worse, do you think your business is going to make it? At some point, you might want to talk to the bank and just say, look, I'm not going to make it. This is what's going to happen. I don't want you to make, 2 or 3 payments, and then you never get that money back. but it's all about communication with that bank. So, another thing we have to do is we have to reach out to to people that we know. Everyone handles this situation a little bit different. The past 2 weeks, everyone thinks that, most people think that Steve Lloyd just, gladiator, and he's just a maniac, and he posts on positive things. Well, I get down too. That's why I have accountability person. Kerry is my accountability person in my life. She's number one. She's the one, when I get down, that she brings me back. And if Kerry's off for a couple hours, which is not often, Kerry calls me and communicates with me, and I pick her back up. Everyone needs an accountability partner right now. Everyone needs to be able to communicate and talk to someone and talk about their problems, and hopefully that person can bring you back, because being upset and depressed and angry isn't going to do any help for you right now. You got to be positive and motivated. I'm going to give you a little example of something that I did the other day that really caught me by surprise. I called somebody, and this person is always pumped up and motivated and talkative when I talk to this person, and that person, it was 2:00 in the afternoon. I said, "What are you doing?" She sounded really somber. And the person was still laying in bed at 2:00 in the afternoon. And I said, "What's wrong?" She's just like, "I'm really bummed out. I bought this building. I paid almost $900,000 for it. And it was Airbnb, and I was doing extremely well. It was fully rented, and I was just making a boatload of money. Then all of a sudden, the virus comes along, and she goes, I'm completely out of business. And my mortgage payment is $7,000 a month." And she's just like, "I don't know what I'm going to do." So I just said, I started to talk to her, and I didn't want to give her too much of my Tony Robbins crap right off the bat. But I just said, I want you to sit on the side of the bed, and I want you to talk to me. And we're going to work. We're going to talk through this, right? And all she kind of wanted was to vent a little bit and talk about it, and then maybe have some advice. And then I got her to sit on the bed. We started talking, and then I heard her voice start to change to more positive. And then a couple minutes later, I had her walking around the room. And then 10 minutes later, I had her all pumped up, and she was ready to rock and roll. And I had her back on the page, and I said, let's talk every other day to make sure your mind's in the right spot. I need you in the right spot. We can't solve your problem if you're depressed and laying in bed. And there's a lot of people right now. We're all bottled up in our houses, and we're not really sure how to get things through. But that's why you need to get 2 or 3, accountability partners to talk either every day, every other day, or every third day to keep those spirits up. Because I'm telling you this, I promise you, all of this is going to be okay. It's just a moment of time. If you think about other times in your life when you had traumatic things going on, you might have lost a couple things here. You might have lost a couple things there. But you always made a good comeback. And, and if you have that self-development, you put yourself around great people, we're going to be looking back at this 9 months or a year and go, man, I wish I wasn't so fearful. I wasn't so upset. I wish I was more motivated and took action. If you go back 12 years ago when we had the financial situation, people were nervous to buy. It got really low. But then after 2 or 3 years, what did we have? We were going, oh, man, I really wish I would have bought, 2 years ago when it was really bad. Americans strong. We're strong. We're going to come back. You need to use these tools to make sure you can get through this bad time right now. And I promise you, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. In 4 or 5 years from now, we'll be looking back at this. And we're going to be, we won't be laughing about it, but we're going to, we're going to be happy. And it's what we do now as a company, and what we do now as an individual that's going to shape who we are. That's how I feel. That's why I'm trying to help as many people as I possibly can. And Kerry's doing the same thing. And I need everyone that's listening to this call to reach out to as many people as they can to make sure they're okay. And then what is their plan? What's your plan? And if you're in trouble, reach out and ask for help. You have to reach out and ask for help.
That's awesome, Steve. So one of the things that I heard is that, so there's a disease that's going around, right? There's a virus going around, right? That people are getting sick, and we have to protect ourselves from that. But the thing that we have to protect the most is our mental health, not just our physical health, but our mental health, because it's easy to get into the weeds, into the dumps. Like it's if we're not careful. And people have been responding in not the best way, not the most optimistic way, where people are stuck in bed and they don't want to get out. They just want to put their head in the sand because they think it'll go away. And that's probably or most likely not the best course of action. And then I believe in networking with as many people as possible. So if you can put as a to-do list, so people like these action items. So one of the action items that I'm hearing is just to pick up the phone and start calling people, right? Kerry, as I heard, that's what you guys are doing. You're doing it. Steve's doing it, right? So just pick up the phone, call as many people as you can, and people will like to hear from you because we're all quarantined. We're all quarantined together, right? So since we're all quarantined together, I think conversations could actually spur a lot of new growth in business. Kerry was saying your competition can become your allies in the future, right? They can be your future business partners. Maybe your competition now, but with this shakeup, there are people who won't get through this, right? That's going to open up the market a lot. There's only going to be a few players left in different divisions in business. So you guys can link up and actually do 10 times more business with two of you guys protecting together, right? Or playing together.
It might be 3 steps back, but then in 6 months it's going to be a springboard. One thing I'm communicating to my investors about what's going on now, but I'm also communicating to my investors that we're going to raise a lot of capital in the next 5 or 6 months. And I'm going to reach out to people because there's going to be a lot of things on discounts. Most of the people on this call are distressed asset buyers. We're looking for deals. Well, if you were looking for deals 3 months ago and you were buying, I'd be really happy, 6 months from now, because I believe there's going to be a lot to buy. So you have this little crisis going on right now, but then there's going to be opportunity 6 and 7 months from now. That's why you got to start talking to people and partnering with people and helping each other. Because I might not, in 6 months, I might not own 100% of an asset. I might only own 25% of an amazing asset where Kerry and I partnered with 2 or 3 people. So right now it's, make sure you're secure now, see where you are, right? Stay focused. I don't think the buying time is going to be the next month or 2. I really think the time that we'll be able to pick up assets are 5 or 6 months from now. So, but you have to have a plan. If you have no plan, you're a ship in the middle of the harbor that's not going to go anywhere. You don't get on an airplane without a flight plan. You just don't take off. You must write down. Kerry's very good at writing everything down and creating a plan for us with detailed notes of every step of the way. And that's what's going to create our success. We are going to pull back, but then we are going to spring forward in the next 6 months to a year. And that's where we all need to be. Focus, evaluate where we are, and get ready and get motivated to move forward, because there will be plenty left. It's just being honest with yourself and looking in the mirror and making really tough decisions.
Awesome, Steve. So I want to hear from Kerry. So Kerry, please take it away. I actually wanted to hear about what your plans were and also what your thoughts were of all of the things that we just spoke about.
Sure. What I want to just remind everybody is that life is a marathon. Your business, you as a person, you're on a long journey. We have lots more ahead of us. And right now is a moment in time, like Steve said, your business may be getting pruned. Being pruned is never a pleasant thing. It's spring right now, right? One of the things we're going to go do with our bushes outside is cut them all back, right? So that when they bloom this spring, there's even more beautiful flowers there. So it's really your mindset, how you choose to look at the circumstances that are happening right now. Please, please, I encourage you, don't choose to look at it as, what can I do? I can't help it that my revenue just got stopped. I can't help it that I can't pay my rent. I can't help it that I can't pay my employees, whatever it is, right? We could all do the I can't help or woe me. That mentality you have to kick to the curb. You got to fight really hard. But I promise you, if you choose, it's a choice that we all make. It's a choice. If you choose to see your circumstances in a different light, look hard, because I promise you, The answers are there. You can see the little tiny buds. Sometimes that's all that's there. Sometimes there's so much bad going on right now. That's all you can see in your face. But I promise you, if you seek and look really hard, you're going to see that little tiny bud that's starting to bloom. And know that your life is going to come back, and it's going to come back. Might not come back 3 months from now. It might come back. Who knows what the timetable is? But choose to do something different in this downtime. So I implore you all, if you are stuck right now, think about what you can do when you start rolling again. Think about, take the time right now. That's a big thing that I'm doing in the now, in the last 2 weeks. It's very easy for me to stay in firefight mode and do, and take action on this and take action on that. You've heard a lot of really good tidbits today on things you can do, and we want you to be proactive. Call the bank, call your tenants, and do these different things. But what I want to implore you to do, what I'm doing differently in this coronavirus event going on in our life, is sitting down and taking creative time and space, taking a look at our business, taking a look at myself and saying, okay, is the business going to come back 100%? Like the way that we've done business, is that the way it's going to look in the 3 months, 6 months, 12 months down the road? Because it might not. And I need to, as a leader running our company along with Steve, we need to think about those things and start to put some things into action now so that we can thrive and survive. Not actually, our goal here is not to just survive coronavirus. We're going to thrive in coronavirus. Winter is our season, guys. Right now, we are in the thick of it, but choose to look at it differently. Choose to see what changes you can make and should make so that your business thrives.
Okay, weren't we talking the other day? You okay?
Yeah.
Weren't we talking the other day about things that we might not do that we were doing a year ago in the company or 6 months or only in our own life? This has given us a time to reflect about the past, what we were doing, and we might eliminate some of the things we were doing to make us our personal lives better, healthier. It might make our business healthier with making these choices that we might change. So there's a lot of bad right now. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of bad. There's a lot of uncertainty. But there is a lot of hope. And there is a lot of, we know we're going to come out of this. And this is where, I go back to Kerry, writing everything down. What do you want to take out? And what do you want to put into your life? What do you want to add to it? Maybe it could be anything that you want to take out. Sometimes, when life is going along, we want to take things out, but it takes like something like this to trigger to really get away from really holding you back in life. I mean, that's where I think about it. I go, I got all these good, every morning I take 5 minutes of gratitude. Even today, there doesn't feel like we should have gratitude, but man, it's 5 minutes every day for me thinking about all the positive things that I had. And then I look at that list that's not so great, and I try to pluck one away out of my life, whenever that time might come, and it makes my life stronger. So look back in your life the past year or two and see what you might want to change going forward. Kerry and I communicate about this all the time. Where do we want to be in 5 years? I know we can't look out 5 years from now. We want to get through today. But just do some of these exercises that Kerry and I do, and it's really, really, really helpful. Is there any questions coming from the audience?
Yeah, there was a question, and I actually kind of want to answer it based off of what I heard. So there was a question that was just like, what are the 3 top action steps that we should do to prepare now? What I heard was that we should get on the phone with our tenants. We should get on the phone with our lenders. We should get on the phone with our strategic partners, right? Also, Steve, what I heard that when we spoke before the call was you want to talk to your accountant and your bookkeepers and find out where you are financially. What is the financial health of your business? How much runway do you have? Because you were saying you want to protect your cash flow. You want to protect your capital. Maybe you don't want to make payments on a business that is going to fail anyway, right? And you can only know that by looking at the profit and loss statement, right, and projecting forward. If you continue down this path of no income, how long can you last for? So maybe it's better to just let it go, and that's a really hard decision to make. But having the numbers makes it black and white. There's a lot of emotion in there, but it does make it black and white. And now sometimes, like Kerry was saying, we have to prune and plant. Have to prune the dead or dying leaves so that the rest of the leaves can get the nourishment. This is an opportunity. Yeah.
I had an apartment building 2 years ago. It was a smaller one. It was like a 24 unit. And I had this thing for like 2 or 3 years. And Carrie's laughing. Like, help you laugh at me, Carrie. Carrie's going, get rid of it. Get rid of it. This thing's killing you mentally. Forget about the money. Kerry is always right. She is. I don't know how she does it, but she's always right. And I finally let go. And it was just ego. It was a $70,000, $80,000 loss for me. But when I let that thing go, I was able to sleep better at night. I let it go. And then we went on to, a different investment that was more a positive one. Don't be scared to let go of the trash real estate you have. Focus on the good real estate you have. Unfortunately, what gets in our minds and what takes up most of our day is our problems. And as I've gotten rid of some of the problem real estate, it just has made it so much stronger. We sleep better. We come to work better. And Kerry goes, I told you so.
Yeah. So this is a good time since we're quarantined, right? You can either watch all of Netflix or you can take inventory of your business. So my wife and I yesterday, we were taking inventory of our own business. So we were setting up a profit and loss statement, right, for the current situation. We're looking at our balance sheet. We're looking at our debt. We're focused on what are the things that need to be restructured, whether the debt needs to be structured or what do we need to get rid of, right? Because this dead weight that we're trying to carry around, sometimes it's for ego, sometimes it's for business, and sometimes we can't tell the difference. But through math, that's how you tell the difference. So if you need to understand how to look at your business's health, reach out to me, reach out to somebody and discuss how to take a look at the health of your business. Take a look at the cash on cash return, the return on equity, the return on investment. Take a look at all of those things. And when you get to cut out all of these things, it's a fantastic thing. You guys remember when Kobe Bryant died? So when he died, everybody started watching all the YouTube videos of his life and all of the interviews that they did. And one of the things that he said, an interviewer asked, how does it feel when you lose the game? And he said, it feels great to lose because that all of a sudden is a spotlight on my weakness. And that is where I get to improve. Notice the wording. I get to improve. It's not that I have to improve or, this is something I have to do. Like it's not a chore. It's something I get to do. I'm excited to do it because then it makes me an overall better player. I have a belief that this situation that we're in now has caused people to have to face their business head on and look at the weaknesses, right? And notice that there are some things that they overlooked or let go for a long time because in a bull market, everybody wins. But when things get rocky, that's when we get to see where we need to work on, where the weaknesses in our businesses. So when you work on the weaknesses now because they've been exposed, now we get to build a stronger business for the future. And now prices are going to go down. So now this is a perfect buying opportunity as well. So this actually is the perfect storm for a lot of people who are optimistic about the future. They get to restructure and make sure that when they build a business again, that they don't have the same weaknesses. So that's what I heard.
I want you want to say something? You started. Okay.
I did. I wanted to say I saw that same interview, and I only saw it because Kobe died. But it really resonated with me also, and it's so true. So many people, when they've had a mistake or a failure, however you want to look at that bad thing that happened, so many people want to go, I just want to forget it, right? And sometimes they do bad things to forget it. They They do drugs, they do alcohol, whatever. They sit and they watch Netflix, right? So what we have to do, Kobe encouraged people, and I love it that you brought that up. Instead, study it, look at it, because you know what? You're going to face this challenge again. We might not face a pandemic like coronavirus again, but we are going to face something that's going to challenge our business, the revenue that our business brings in. So look at it right now, study it, change your mindset on it. Instead of looking at it as a bad thing, go, great. What do I get to do differently? How can my business shift and pivot and change, and what's going to come from it? So it's really a perspective. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Thank you.
Hoan, on a little bit different topic. Over the past 2 weeks, I've been having people IM me through Facebook. Probably over the past 2 weeks, I've talked to about 7 people that I have no idea who they are. I actually apologize, but we've really good conversations with questions, and I'm trying to help people. So, people can IM me through Facebook. I can't tell you if I don't respond to you. Send me a message again a week or 2 weeks from now. I am very busy. I'm waking up. I'm getting some exercise in the morning from 5 to 7. I'm coming back, and I'm by 7:30, 8 o'clock, I'm right back into the game until 10:30 at night. But if someone wants to reach out to me, send me an IM. Don't, get mad if I don't respond within 5 or 6 days. I'll do the best I can to get back to you. Some people were like, they're following the stock market and they have questions about 401k, IRAs. I heard something out there last week that you might be able to take $100,000 out of your IRA without having a penalty. So there might be some access there for people to grab money from. But my point is, reach out to other people. If you need me, reach out. If I don't respond, I will get back to you or send another message next week. Kerry and I have been through a lot, and we have a lot of good ideas. We're good listeners, and then we actually can hopefully maybe create an action plan for you. We're always wanting to help. Another person that I think everyone should be following is a guy that I look up to. I've been to his mastermind. He's been putting a lot of good content out there, like you, Hoan. I just want to thank you so much for doing these. I know you've had a couple different people on, and I don't think you understand how many people that you're really helping. You're just a class act, a good person, and a big heart. And it gets me a little emotional because we need more guys like you that are trying to help the world. Crazy agents, we need more of them. So the other thing is, that person's name, one of the people I want you to follow his name is Scott Duffy. Scott Duffy. His last name is Duffy. He's from Los Angeles, California. I was listening to a lot of his stuff when I got back from my bike ride today. He's having different entrepreneurs. He had someone on there talking about yesterday about small business administration loans and how the whole loan market works, which you're really good at, Hoan. And then another person that I just love reading her post, it's Anna Real Estate Mom Kelly, Kelly. Anna had a huge heart. We met 2 years ago. I think I helped Anna quit her job. One day we were mastermind for 2 days, and she asked me 96 times whether she should quit her job, and I said, do it. And then a couple months later, she created the plan. She quit her job, but man, is she just an intelligent, amazing, kind-hearted person that just keeps putting information out there. Scott Duffy, I don't know if you can put that out there, Hoan. Scott Duffy and Anna Real Estate Mom Kelly.
Already got you covered, Steve. Yep. So let's see. I got
just one more, Hoan. I got to say one other thing.
Absolutely.
I want you guys to be very careful. Kerry and I are giving you advice, but it might not fit your company. So I want you to talk to your accountants. I want you to talk to your attorneys. But I also want you to be careful of listening to everybody, right? So to go back a couple years ago, one of the apartment buildings that I bought, a very wealthy man, he's worth like $100 million. And I went over the deal with him, and he told me not to buy the deal. He told me not to buy the deal. Well, we ended up buying the deal, and it was the best deal we ever made. So just because there's, you're listening to, people that you think are successful, or they're telling you they're successful, always double check the information. I don't care who gives you information. If Kerry gives you information, I give you information. Double check the information and make the decisions on your own. Just because a lot of these people that I get information from sometimes are not in the real estate world, so it might not be the perfect information for me. So always verify the information and ask another person. I do this a lot. Here's what I hear, right? Here's what I hear. Sounds good, but let me go ask somebody else.
Gotcha. Yeah. I remember you telling me about that conversation that you had with that advisor of yours, and him telling you not to do the deal, and then that deal ended up to being one of your best deals. So imagine if you listened to him.
It was the best deal in our life. It was the best deal in our life.
Right. So it's interesting how you could have missed out on the best deal of your life if you listened to the advisor, who was a very credible advisor. A lot of times we have to protect ourselves from sharing our ideas with people who think too small. But in this case, that person, he thought huge, and he can show it, and yet he still couldn't see the vision that you had. So yes, you have to verify that. A kind of twist in this conversation, we have a comment or in question. So there's a lot of talk about the lack of safety net in the country, and there's a lot of positive discussion about that, right? So simultaneously, there's a lot of anger being created because people are being hurt right now. The have-nots are being decimated, and so there's a lot of stimulus programs and things like that. But where do you think the country is going to go, or even more local than just the country, or like hyper local to whatever city or state you're in? What do you think is going to be happening in terms of either rent control or how real estate investing and wholesaling and healthcare and all of that? How are things going to be changing post-coronavirus? What are your thoughts on that? Either one of you.
Look, I say I'm a forward-thinking man, but look, I don't want to get in trouble here. New York is talking rent control. It's not really the topic right now, but right. Philadelphia, I'm sure it's going to go rent control. Hey, look, if it happens in California and it's happened in New York, it's going to, we know Philadelphia. If most of the listeners are from Philadelphia, I can tell you rent control is coming. Just always create your own destiny. Go with the rules that you have, but maybe adapt. Like, I don't invest in Philadelphia anymore. I just don't. But I see it in these states. I'm not going to do a political debate here. But if you see rent control coming at a city near you, you better think that it's coming to your city. So, I always part of what we do is, when someone wants to sell me a building and they go, well, it could be this. I go, no. I want to look at what it is today. You tell me I can get the rents up. No, you get the rents up and you sell to me for that price. But, that's hard to answer, Home, because I don't have a crystal ball. I don't direct people in the wrong direction. But when I hear something coming, I don't necessarily react to that because sometimes it never comes. But when New York gets rent collection, rent caps and things like that, that really, really makes me nervous. Right. I hope I helped with that question, but Kerry, do you have any on that?
Well, this is why it's so important for us to stay engaged. As a landlord, we should know our tenants. We should know what impacts them, right? In some of our apartment investments, where are the bulk of those people working? Are they working in, big box Walmart type stores? Are they working at the manufacturing company down the road? So you also need to keep in touch with the laws, how, what things the local government is doing, kind of get the pulse of where things are going. These things just don't change on a dime. They start slowly, and you kind of need to be staying in touch with all of those things. Don't be one of these landlords that doesn't get to know their people, doesn't know what impacts them. And I really do believe that if we as a society come together and work together and not be the haves versus the have-nots. If we all look at each other, forget who has this, who has that, who has this color skin, who has that one, instead look at each other like the Bible teaches us to look, and let's all do for each other what we want others to do for us. So if I want my tenant to pay me rent, then I pay my rent. If I want, my borrowers to pay me my mortgage, then I should be paying my mortgage. And if I need help, I'm going to reach out, because there are definitely a lot of resources out there that will help. And I think that if we all collectively work together with that end goal in sight, that we become a better society, it can happen.
Awesome. Thank you, Kerry. Yeah, so my thoughts on that is, we don't know what can happen, what will happen. The thing is, there's always been this have or have not, right? If you have 100 people in a room, 50% of them are below average, right? It's just, that's how it is. And then there's always going to be this divide. And what we got to do is, of course, compassion for people wherever they are. And part of how I try to be compassionate is by educating, right? If people don't have hope, they have this demeanor that is just, it's constantly negative, and they can't do anything about it because they're not in the right state of mind. They don't have leaders like you guys to tell them to be optimistic, to get off of the bed and walk around the room. They don't have people in their life telling them that. So if each one of us can try to educate others to be a beacon of hope and light, then we're in the right state of mind. We can begin to start thinking bigger and better. If you're only thinking about how am I going to pay my next bill, how am I going to afford dinner, how am I going to do any of that stuff, if that's all you're thinking about, you're not thinking about your greater purpose. You're not thinking about why you were put on this earth. You can't think beyond that. So it is important to be compassionate. And again, a proactive way to be compassionate, a good way to be compassionate is by educating others, being that hope and showing people that it can be done through your own actions, right? So get around other people who are doing things, and they will show you that even when things are bad, you still have a positive mentality. And by having that positive mentality, that's the beginning of change. Every idea starts in your head, and then it becomes real. It's never real first and then becomes an idea. So it has to happen in that order, right?
You know what, Hoan, that's one of the things that I appreciate that you do. And in this day and age, there are so many people that have a negative mindset. They haven't had somebody in their life to be a positive force, to be somebody to be with them when they're down. And right now, we all have an opportunity. Even those that are down right now think they've got nothing to give. We all have something to give. There's always somebody that has something better than us and somebody who has it worse off than us. And one proactive thing we can do is just, not right now because we're practicing social distancing, but when we do get back into the groove of things, and even right now, we can be doing Zoom meetings and showing people proactively, like bring them alongside of you, show them what you're doing. So if they are down and out and they've got nothing, education. And so I think this is a great time for people to, like you're doing, Home, with this video here. Nobody had to pay for it. They can see it. They can tap into it and choose to either make changes in their life and in their mindset or continue to stay where they are. And I think it's a great opportunity for all of us to look for those opportunities to kind of bring somebody alongside of us and give them a leg up that they didn't have before.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve, do you have anything to add?
I'm just excited. Chip Lever just me and said my face is looking skinny, so I was kind of like checking myself out here. It's actually looking better. But Chip, Chip Lever is one of my mentors, one of our good friends. Kerry and I are good friends. We met years ago, and he was a big apartment building guy, and he contacted us, and we met for like 8 months, and we were trying. I wanted to do business with him. I was so excited when we started talking, and it's been added, just him and his wife Karen, just adding them into our lives has been amazing. Who can you add into your life? Who do you want to add into your life that can move you forward? And Chip is one of those people. Ryan Adams and Fu Quan. Follow Fu Quan below. I mean, we just have such. Dustin from Chicago. We have so many good people in our lives, and that's what we need to surround us and put in that bubble for us to move forward. And Chip just texted me. He's working on with one of the banks right now. What's today? Sunday? I'm getting confused on the days. Right now, he just texted me. He's finishing up some paperwork that we needed done. He's taking action. I know. This is what you need to know. You go to bed at night. The people that's on your team, that they're getting stuff done that they need to get done. So when you wake up in the morning, you don't have to question it. Kerry and I have, I don't know, we have the greatest partnership I could ever dream about. We do fight. We do argue. But when we leave the office, it's just something, we forgive each other because business is emotional. And right now, a lot of people need to take emotion out. So when you call someone right now, you got to realize you don't understand their pressures or what they're going on. And that's what you got to be careful of. I think I've been doing a pretty good job the past 2 weeks, not getting upset at anybody and understanding that everyone's home situation is different. And actually everyone's home situation has changed, hasn't it? It's crazy. It's like, your family leaves in the morning, you don't get to spend all day with them, but when you're stuck with them, not stuck with them, I got to be careful here. But now you're with them all day long. It's a little different. Oh, I don't love Uncle Billy as much as I used to love him, right? But, I flat out have the greatest partner in the world. And I would not even be close to where I am today without Kerry. When I get down, she's the rock. When she gets down, I'm the rock. She kicks me in the butt. I kick her in the butt. And it's kind of funny, Kerry. I haven't been, this is the longest time that we haven't been working out of the same office. It's like 2.5 weeks now. It's kind of crazy.
I know things will never be the same, will they?
Really loves it.
Good thing and a bad thing.
She's finally over me gone, and now she doesn't want me back.
That's right. We'll see what happens.
Are we almost any questions that anybody wants to answer, then we'll wrap it up?
Somebody says, any thoughts on those who want to sell their house at this time? So I guess some people are interested in maybe selling their house. So is that something that they should do? Is it a bad time?
Well, yeah. Well, obviously it's a bad time. So this is what I want to tell you. Get realistic. If your house, if you were going to put it up for sale, look, this is only my opinion. If you were going to sell your house last week for $600,000, you better come up with a new number. Because I'm telling you right now, it's only going to get harder and harder for people to get loans. You have to remember, almost everyone's out of work right now. Whenever what the biggest mistake people make is price. The reason a house doesn't sell because it's not priced right. And we have this tendency to what it's worth. So if you're not in financial trouble and you don't need to sell your house, then I would just stay put for right now. Because look, a transaction of selling the house and the transaction of buying a new house is expensive. And the furniture that you have in the current house might not fit in the next house. The blinds have to be changed. So you're creating an expense for you, kind of. But if the question is, I can't afford my home right now, you need to get it off your plate now. Don't hang in there for months and months and months. So if you take it from $600,000, if that's maybe a hypothetical number, and go sell it for $550,000 right now. But if you hold on for, if your mortgage payment's $3,000 a month, if you hold on to that in 5 months, it's the same number. Did I say that correctly?
Well, you said, so if you're trying to sell it for 600 now, maybe drop it to 550 versus hanging on for a few months. I'm guessing that because in a few months it might be even lower.
Well, that's not my point. My point is,
okay,
you have it. If you want to sell it for $600,000, and then maybe you drop it right now because you know the value of the house is going down right now. I mean, let's be logical, right? Let's have common sense.
Right.
So if you get it off your hands right now for $550, right?
Right.
If you decide to hold on to it, and your payment's $3,000 a month, right? I mean, you're gonna get the $50,000 eventually if you let it sit on the market for 10 or months or even a year.
Oh, gotcha.
Get things off your plate.
Got it. So that weight of having this $3,000 a month debt monthly payment, if you just sell the house for $550,000, which is kind of like future pricing anyway, just sell it now for that price and get it off, and then you'll make that $5,000 in saved mortgage payments and other expenses. So,
and you know what? It gives you a clear mind. It's not all about money right now. There's emotional equity going on. It's about emotions right now. There's a ton of pressure on this country. There's a ton of pressure on families right now. If you're going to sell, get sold, but be realistic about the price you're going to list it for. Don't have a dream price. Have a realistic price about everything that you're getting off your plate. Be realistic of what's going on in the world.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna try to summarize this as best I can. So this whole call, for those who are paying attention, this was all about restructuring your life and your business for today and for 6 months from now and 12 months from now. Now, we can't predict what's going to happen 6 months from now or 12 months from now, but we can definitely take action towards changing the debt we have. Also, what I wanted to bring up was Steve was saying it earlier, that there were things that you were doing 2 months ago. So I have this thing where I talk to people about who want to become entrepreneurs and escaping their 9 to 5 and things like that, that you might have hated what you were doing every single day. This is the time now to study and learn about how to do something so that you can cut out whatever you are hating. If you hate every single day of your life because you feel like you have to do it for the money, well, consider this a great reset. This is your time to spend on honing your skills, right? You get to hone your skills, you get to become a better business person, and you get to develop a business that has just been a thought, that good idea that you've been having for so long. You get to implement that now. And so 6 months from now, 12 months from now, you'll have a lot of traction. The other thing that we've been talking about is changing who you're talking to and talking to more people. Think people, leaders in your space, speak to them and maybe try to get them to become closer to you. Not proximity, but relationship wise, right? Have them close to you. Now, here's the thing that I want to warn you guys of. So everybody has heard of that old adage where you are the average of your closest 5 friends. So imagine this. You have these 5 friends that you want to maybe distance yourself away from a little bit so that you can hang out with another group of 5 that will bring you up. The problem with that is that those other 5 may not want to hang with you because you may lower their average. So in this time, you should develop your skills so that you have something of value to add to that group. You may not have as much money, you may not have as much in terms of assets and experience, but hey, maybe you can learn jokes so you can make everybody laugh and have a good time so they want you in their group. Maybe you can learn how to become more encouraging, or maybe you can learn about technology and then host things like this and bring that to the table. Everybody has something of value, and it doesn't always relate to the money and the experience, right? You can add value. So figure out ways you can add value to the people that you want to hang out with, because everybody wants to hang out with a level up. But you have to ask yourself the question, the difficult question of why would they want to hang out with you, right? And if you can answer that, work on that, and then they will then gladly accept you, right? Nobody wants to walk around with an anchor. So make sure you're not an anchor.
What you got to be careful of is going to that next group that you want to hang with and asking for something and asking for something and asking for something.
Right.
You know, I don't look at levels. I mean, I never really have. I try to be, that's why I'm on the phone with Kerry, and I really try to help anybody. I mean, you know, I'm helping a person right now that's helping me at Temple. He doesn't have much. He did 6 years. He had 16 years in federal prison. He's got 6 gunshot wounds in his side. He started doing work for me at Temple the past 2 months. We have become friends. his goal in life is to own a home. He has helped me tremendously get me out of problems. It's been an amazing experience to know, he got sick 2 weeks ago. He had blood in his urine. I want to be for them. He just wanted to talk to somebody. I didn't think that I would be friends with this guy when I first met him, but he's just a human being that has a little bit different life than I have. But, he doesn't believe in having a checking account. I had to go last week and I had to set up a Western Union. It cost me $260 to send to Western Union. I called him. I said, "You're getting a checkbook. I don't care if you think the banking system's a scam. You're getting a checkbook." It doesn't matter who you are. We want to help you. I don't care where you came from. It doesn't matter. Every individual person is different and has a life. Everyone has a soul. We might not always agree with everything, but anybody can reach out to me and Kerry. I want to press the issue that I am me. If you're having troubles in your life, if you're depressed, I will try to talk to you. I will try to give you time, and that's what we need to share to this whole group. Help as many people as you can, and sometimes it's just listening. You don't have to give them anything. You don't have to give them money. You don't have to. Maybe it's just listening. Sometimes the best times when I learn things is when I just be quiet and shut up and I just listen. And that's what we need now. We need a lot of listeners. We need a lot to help a lot of people, because a lot of people are going to be helped. I know we've been talking about, money and making money in 6 months and maybe losing money, but, there's emotional equity in life that I look at. And emotional equity is worth a lot. It goes a long, long way.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Steve. So yeah, we are in this together. We are all looking to help each other. And when I was saying to develop your skills, it wasn't necessarily saying that we should help people at a different level, right? But we do have to be very careful that we don't seem to be the person who's just taking from a conversation. Nobody wants to be that person either. You don't want to be that. You want to be somebody. It's a relationship, right? It's a give and take. So if you're having issues, then we're all here to help you, for sure. We're here to help you. But you also, just from a human perspective, you want to also feel like you're contributing to other people's lives, right? The 6 human needs from Tony Robbins: consistency, variety, significance, love, and connection. And then the 2 big ones is growth, and then the last one's contribution. So the 6th human need is contribution, and that's the big one. So people want to feel like they're adding to other people's lives, right? It's not just about taking, but being able to give. So always ask yourself, if you need help, ask yourself, how can I help somebody else, right? And that is a great way to get what you need. Keep asking yourself that. I know it's difficult when things are tough. And when things are tough, go reach out for help, right? I talk to hundreds of people who want to become real estate investors, who want to start businesses and all of that kind of stuff. And I talk to them for hours and hours and hours. Like, Steve, I don't know who you are, but I'm talking to you for hours. And it happens, right? But definitely ask yourself, how can you help others? And that's a sure way that you get the value and the help that you want. Jennifer asks, can you tell me what emotional equity means? So, emotional equity, how would you define that?
Okay, so you have equity in a building, right? So there's equity there. But emotional equity is building a relationship. Okay? A little bit hard to explain. So compared to, you got a building and it's worth, there's true equity of $200,000. Okay, emotional equity is creating a relationship with somebody and building up that relationship from the first day. So it's really not a value of money. It's emotional equity, looking at it a different way. So I think, Hoan, from the first day we met, you came to the office with your wife and we talked. We've been building equity in our relationship.
Yep.
Right? We've become better friends. We help each other. You have us on the call today. We've come a long way together from the first day we met, maybe 3 years ago. You called me and I've called you. I've called you for advice. You called me for advice. And that's what I call, that's an emotion, right? And I think that's what we've built up between us is a friendship, but I call it emotional equity.
Awesome. No, that's a great word.
So I believe emotional equity is the same value as when you put into a dollar. It's not all about the money. And if everybody can just kind of restructure what they're doing, the thing is just about, for me and Kerry, it's about having a happy life today, right? Before, I used to go, it's just so money. Everybody chases money. Everybody wants this big money, this big pot of gold, this big bank account, and look, I'm going to take a hit right now. This is not going to be easy for me and Kerry, but we're definitely going to get through it. We're going to thrive, and it's going to be better. But, emotional equity is also being built there, trusting in a partner, trusting our relationships that we have. Who's going to get through this with me, right? That's emotional equity. So, you understand, Kerry?
Well, in the realm of distressed real estate investing, emotional equity in like a property, in a home. Think about your own home that you own right now. So emotional equity is maybe the MLS or Zoom says your home is worth $400,000, right? Well, to you, emotional equity, that house might be worth $500,000, $600,000, because that's where you raised your children. That's where they took their first steps. That's where you've got the marks on the door as the kids were growing older and they were getting taller. So that's where emotional equity comes into play. And as real estate investors, we're always tapping into that, because sometimes when we're talking to somebody who can't afford their house anymore, they can't afford that rent, they can't afford their mortgage, the value of that property might be one thing, but to that person, there's other value that's tied into that. And so that's what emotional equity is. Our businesses, we can be looking at them the same way. Our identity might be tied to that business that we started that isn't really making money anymore, that we need to cut. But because our identity, our emotional equity says, well, that's my identity. If I cut that business, who am I if I don't have that any longer? So that's what emotional equity means to me.
I love that. So emotional equity is something that we can definitely invest in right now, even though the rest of our assets are losing equity.
Massive.
Yeah. So we're having massive asset equity loss, but emotional equity we can be building, and we can build a lot of it, even though we're social distancing from each other because of technology like this. Right? So we can definitely start building relationships, and so that when we come out the other side, we're that much better. So
yeah, I think a touchy situation. Do you mind if I get off the emotional equity? I just remembered something.
Yeah, go for it.
I think a lot of people need to plan for their family with wills and estates, and making sure that your wills are completed right now, making sure they're done right. Kerry and I are just finishing up ours now. It's hard to believe that I didn't have one. It wasn't very good. But I just had to redo this thing. So now that you have time at home, you should start thinking about that, updating your will, creating a will, maybe getting a term life insurance policy. I mean, this stuff is really important right now. And a lot of people procrastinate, like myself. I mean, I'm the number one bad offender of this. I didn't do a very good job up until now. And, it's something that you should be looking at right now and making sure they're completed, because, this is not good times, and I'm sure everyone's going to make this through this, but, updating, Kerry, you want to talk a little bit more about this? You kind of taken the lead on this, about what we've done.
Well, look, there's where emotional equity, not equity, it doesn't come into play, but the emotions come into play with the will, right? If I do a will, I know I think that was probably guiding me through a long time of my life, was that, well, if I have a will, then maybe I'm potentially going to die. Instead, it's, again, how do you choose to look at the circumstances? So definitely be proactive, reach out. We have some resources that we've, some attorneys and some accountants and that we've been working with to do our will planning. So for sure, we totally want to help you with those and share those resources with you. And the guy that we worked with, and his name is escaping me right at the second. I didn't know we were going to do that. I'll think of it. He was so good with us. He walked us down a path and helped me in particular think about things that I wasn't even thinking about, and really helped me to put a great will plan into action that I feel like solves the immediate needs if something were to happen right now, but also long-term down the road. And so, yeah, definitely think about it. Don't procrastinate that. Don't think that it can't happen to you, because that's what this pandemic is showing us, is that it can happen to us.
Yeah, absolutely. So black swans and weird things that happen, right? Everybody thinks not me, and until it happens, and that's unfortunate. And usually when it happens, we're unprepared. So I like to say, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And part of it is having your will and your estate planning, having your insurance policies in place, and having all of that when things do happen, you're prepared. Now, I'm not saying that even if someone passes away and you had all of the insurance and estate planning in the world, you still want to keep that person. You don't want the money. But as a second consolation prize, right? Second place prize, it's have all of that stuff in place. Now, Steve was mentioning term insurance. You can get a term insurance policy. Those are dirt cheap right now. And you can even make sure you get a convertible term insurance that can possibly turn into a whole life policy that you can have for the rest of your life. But make sure whoever you speak to, make sure that they're knowledgeable with how the whole will, estate, and all of the insurances and everything else plays together, right? It's super important as business owners and investors that we set ourselves up. We work so hard to build all of this. And then if we were to, say, pass away, it would be a tragedy that all of our assets then go into probate and things like that. So
yeah, I just want people to be realistic. I mean, you can look into all those other things, but if you need an easy term insurance policy, they're very, very cheap. I mean, $100,000 to lease to somebody might cost you $300 a year. $100,000 could really, help your loved ones if something happens to you. I see so many people make this mistake. It's really sad, and they just leave problems behind.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you're bringing that up. As during the quarantine time, I've been studying to become an insurance broker. So,
here we go. I didn't know you were doing that. This isn't a sales pitch.
Not sales pitch.
Call everybody except home.
Call everybody except for me, right? But if you do call me, you'll get awesome advice. I'm not actually licensed yet. I'm just studying. That's all. Just taking this time to build my skills, right? It's called skill stacking. Use this time, build your skills, and prepare. Also, what's interesting is people are wondering what they should be doing right now. Believe it or not, what you should be doing right now is what you should have been doing all along, and which is monitoring the health of your business so that you can adjust your business on the fly as the market changes. It doesn't matter whether there's a pandemic or not a pandemic. You should be aware of the health of your business so that you know which way to go and which way to pivot, right? Using the profit and loss statement, using your balance sheet, looking at all of those things. That's how you make the decisions on when to sell a building, when to keep a building, whether or not you should buy it. All of those strategies and decisions, those are made by taking inventory of how your business is doing right now. So people are looking at what you should have been doing all along.
Good. Let's just. I'm just going to sum up a couple things that I've said, and then Kerry, and then we'll end this. But don't hold on to things too long. Make sure you communicate with your banks right now. You might be able to get interest only loan. There's all different kind of things that you can do. Getting a bit of. I got your delay. Hold on. Okay. Talking to your bank, you might be able to get an interest loan. You might be able to defer payments. Just make sure you know what the terms are. Make sure you can, talk to your strategic partners. Create a plan for now, how to get through it. Think of where you're going to be in 6 months. If we can work our way out of this, communication is everything. Taking action now and not delaying. If you get in trouble with a property, try to get rid of it as fast as you possibly can. Don't have an ego and try to hold on to that thing. So, Kerry, do you have, and just let people know that you're going to be buying in 6 to 7 months, and if they want to get involved with you, they should. And, think about maybe selling off a piece of your real estate. If you get in trouble and you got 20 properties and you got $1 million worth of equity, bring in a strategic partner to maybe give you 250 or 25% of the equity or 50% equity. Maybe put $200,000 or $300,000 in your pocket to help you get through this hard time. Kerry, do you have anything you want to end on?
Last thing I guess I would like to say is to make sure that you're keeping your own tank filled. If we think about the airlines, we've all been on airplanes. And what do they always tell us? To put the mask on ourselves first before we help somebody else. And right now, it's so easy. There are a lot of things, especially with us being at home. For me, there's a few additional family members here. And, we're adapting here to all of us being on top of each other. I have an elderly father who needs extra care, trying to coordinate that. And we've got a business that's in transition right now and trying to adapt all those things. So there's a lot of things that could be siphoning energy out of me. And so what's really important to do is to make sure you feed yourself. Put the oxygen mask on yourself and identify the things. First, you need to identify when you are starting to get weak, but know what things will fill you back up. So that can be exercise, it can be journaling, it can be crafting, it can be talking to friends. There's so many different things, so many different ways that we find things that fill our energy and fill us up inside. So make sure you tap into that right now, because there are going to be moments, multiple moments in a day that you can feel deprived of energy and feel depressed or down or whatever word you want to use. And maybe for some of us that are better, it doesn't happen that often, but recognize it. Have people in your circle that will help you identify those and help be the ones to encourage you to take action to take care of yourself. Self-care is important right now too.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. I think this was very helpful for a lot of people. This is how I fill up my tank, by interviewing people like you guys. So I'm going to be doing more of these. So thank you guys for just being so generous with your time and your knowledge, your experience, your wisdom, all of those things, and being open to helping other people in this time of need. That's what people need. It is looking like we have no idea how long we're going to be in this for. So keep reaching out to people, right? Keep calling people.
Yeah. Just remember, Hoan, thank you so much for the call. Both Kerry and I both thank you a lot. I need everyone to stay strong. This is a moment of time. I've been through a lot of things in my life, and they were all just a moment of time. So when we get through this, whether it's 2 months, 6 months, it's a very difficult time for maybe the 3, 6, or 9 months or a year. But we got 30, 40, 50 more years to live. So just stay strong, stay focused, stay positive. Reach out to people. I want to thank everybody for listening to us. I hope we were able to help. And, we really care about everybody, and everyone's going to get through this. I hope that we all get through it together by helping in the messages that you're putting out there, Hoan. Keep putting good people on there because you're helping some people. I'm thankful for you. I'm glad you're my friend. I really appreciate you, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
As scary as Steve tries to be, he's really a big teddy bear.
He's a big teddy bear.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Great.
Love
Thank
you.
Bye, everybody.